Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's update, we are analyzing a topic that has recently gained significant attention among Iraqi Dinar followers and currency speculators. The idea of exchanging Iraqi Dinar at Chase Bank. This subject has circulated widely across online communities, social media discussions, and YouTube channels, often accompanied by bold claims and high expectations. However, as always, our goal here is to break down the situation with clarity, professionalism, and factual accuracy, so you can understand what is actually happening and what it means for you as a viewer or investor. Let's begin by addressing the core claim directly. There are growing statements suggesting that major international banks, including Chase Bank, are now accepting or preparing to accept Iraqi dinar for exchange at a significantly higher value. While this idea is appealing and has been repeated frequently, it is essential to examine it through a realistic financial and institutional lens. As of now, there is no verified official confirmation from Chase Bank or its parent company, JP Chase, stating that Iraqi dinar is being actively exchanged at US branches as a globally recognized tradable currency. Large financial institutions operate under strict regulatory frameworks, including compliance with central banks, international monetary systems, and foreign exchange market liquidity. Any change involving a currency like the Iraqi dinar becoming widely tradable would require coordination with global financial authorities such as central banks, international clearing systems, and foreign exchange markets. Currently, the Iraqi dinar is considered a restricted or non-convertible currency in many parts of the world. This means it is not freely traded on major Forex platforms like widely convertible currencies such as the US dollar, euro, or British pound. The exchange rate of the dinar is primarily managed within Iraq by the Central Bank of Iraq, and its international liquidity remains limited. Now, it is important to understand why rumors like this gain traction so quickly. The Iraqi dinar has long been associated with speculation about a potential revaluation, often referred to as an RV. This concept suggests that the value of the dinar could increase dramatically in a short period, leading to substantial gains for those holding the currency. While Iraq has indeed made progress in rebuilding its economy over the years, including improvements in oil production, fiscal policy, and banking reforms, a sudden and extreme revaluation is not consistent with how modern currency systems operate. Currencies do not typically experience overnight massive increases in value without corresponding economic fundamentals. Exchange rates are influenced by factors such as inflation, GDP growth, foreign reserves, trade balance, political stability, and investor confidence. For Iraq, while there have been positive developments, challenges still remain, including dependence on oil revenues, public sector pressures, and the need for continued financial reform. Returning to the topic of Chase Bank, it is important to differentiate between general banking services and foreign currency exchange capabilities. Large banks like Chase do offer foreign exchange services, but they typically deal in widely traded currencies with established international markets. For a bank to offer exchange services for a currency like the Iraqi dinar, there must be sufficient global demand, liquidity, and regulatory clarity. In the past, some smaller currency dealers and exchange services have offered Iraqi dinar transactions, but these are not the same as major global banks integrating the currency into their mainstream operations. The presence of unofficial or third-party exchange options does not indicate that a major financial institution has formally adopted or endorsed the currency for broad exchange. So what does this mean for Iraqi dinar followers in the short term? In the immediate future, expectations should remain grounded. There is no credible evidence that a large-scale exchange rollout is occurring through major US banks like Chase. This means that individuals holding dinar should be cautious about making financial decisions based on unverified claims or viral information. Short-term economic indicators for Iraq suggest gradual progress rather than sudden transformation. The country continues to focus on stabilizing its currencies, managing inflation, and strengthening its banking sector. The Central Bank of Iraq has taken steps in recent years to modernize financial systems, including digital payment initiatives and anti-money laundering measures. These are important developments, but they represent steady reform rather than immediate currency revaluation. Looking at the long-term perspective, Iraq does have potential for economic growth. The country holds significant oil reserves, and energy exports remain a major source of revenue. Additionally, there are efforts to diversify the economy, improve infrastructure, and attract foreign investment. If these initiatives continue successfully over time, they could contribute to a stronger and more stable currency. However, it is important to emphasize that long-term appreciation of a currency typically occurs gradually and in alignment with economic performance. Sudden, dramatic increases without supporting fundamentals are extremely rare and often unrealistic. Another key factor to consider is the role of international financial systems. For the Iraqi dinar to become widely tradable, it would need to be integrated into global Forex markets. This requires transparency, stability, and confidence from international investors and institutions. While Iraq has made progress, it is still in the process of building that level of trust and infrastructure. From a risk management perspective, anyone considering holding or acquiring Iraqi dinar should treat it as a speculative asset rather than a guaranteed investment. Diversification, research, and caution are essential principles in any financial decision-making process. It is never advisable to rely solely on one asset, especially one with limited liquidity and high uncertainty. It is also worth discussing the psychological aspect of currency speculation. Stories about sudden wealth and dramatic financial events can be compelling, especially when they are repeated frequently across different platforms. However, as a responsible financial news source, it is our duty to separate emotion from evidence and provide information that helps viewers make informed decisions rather than impulsive ones. In the case of claims about exchanging Iraqi dinar at Chase Bank, the absence of official confirmation is a critical point. Financial institutions of that scale communicate major policy changes clearly and publicly. If such a development were real, it would likely be covered by major financial news outlets, regulatory announcements, and official bank communications. Another angle to consider is regulatory compliance. U.S. banks operate under strict oversight from agencies such as the Federal Reserve and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Introducing a new or restricted currency into their exchange systems would require thorough approval processes, risk assessments, and compliance measures. This further reinforces the idea that any legitimate change would be well documented and publicly announced. For viewers following Iraqi dinar updates, the key takeaway is to remain informed but cautious. There is value in monitoring Iraq's economic progress, as it can provide insight into potential long-term trends. However, it is equally important to avoid misinformation and unrealistic expectations. Let's also briefly touch on how misinformation can spread. In many cases, a single unverified claim can be repeated and amplified across social media, creating the illusion of widespread confirmation. This is why it is crucial to rely on credible sources, official statements, and established financial analysis rather than rumors or anonymous reports. In conclusion, while the idea of exchanging Iraqi dinar at Chase Bank may sound promising, there is currently no reliable evidence to support this claim. The Iraqi dinar remains a restricted currency with limited international exchange availability, and any significant changes would require official confirmation from major financial institutions and regulatory bodies. For now, the focus should remain on understanding the Wastavik economic developments in Iraq and maintaining realistic expectations about currency movements. Progress is happening, but it is gradual and aligned with broader economic reforms rather than sudden dramatic shifts. If you are following the Iraqi dinar, stay patient, stay informed, and most importantly, stay grounded in facts rather than speculation. Financial decisions should always be based on careful analysis, not hype. Thank you for watching. If you want to continue receiving responsible and factual updates about the Iraqi dinar and global financial developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And as always, please remember that this content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.